Hey family, welcome back to the Cell Seed podcast, where we are always trying to plant seeds of thought that eventually grow into actions of transformation. I'm your usual host, Emmanuel Saitoti, and today's episode is deeply or dearly personal. And this episode isn't just a conversation; it's a journey, and I want to walk down this journey with you. I want to walk today's journey with you. But before we go any further, let me just ask you something. Let's begin by me asking you something. Have you ever felt you're just going through the motions of life? It's like life has become a repetitive loop of alarms, emails, shallow conversation. And I really mean shallow conversation, the way you communicate with others. It's nothing really personal. And also you experience hollow wins, not Halloweens, hollow wins, where your wins are just, how do they usually say, just a mere win, a small, you almost lost it. And you're breathing but not alive. You feel like life is just passing by. You're existing but not expanding. You're just that dot still in the universe that is doesn't have any impact, or you're feeling lost. So if you just, while I was asking this question, if you just whispered, yeah, that's me, I actually resonate with you. I hear you, because I have been there too. In some people usually think that my friends usually think that everything is merry, but on my end, and how do I persist? But I have been in the low times as well. I'm just like everybody else. In fact, this episode is an open door into that very space I once found myself in. That's why I say this episode is personal, and how I actually climbed out of that space. Today I'm just going to share with you the heart behind my new book. Drum roll please. My new book, The Blueprint of You: Vision, Purpose, and Mindset for a Life of Achievement, which is now available on Amazon Kindle, Seller for Africans, Habari Duka for Tanzanians, YoPay for my friends and colleagues and every person in China, Goodreads, and even in California Books, which is in Miami, and Ria Christie in UK, Abe Books, and so many more. You can find it also on eboddailybooks.my.canva.site. So yeah, that's where I have collected all the resources in one place. Or you can just email me directly at emmanuelsaitoti@qq.com, and I'll sort you out personally. So let's begin with let me take you back to 2022, to late 2022, which was once upon a time after COVID. Once upon a time, the era where we were emerging from COVID. And I think everybody had a share of COVID. So I was stuck in what I now call the monotony of the comfort zone. The monotony of the comfort zone. I was waking up I was waking up just to the same routine, barely conscious. It was like it's just happening. Life is just happening, the usual, Online classes were dragging. My relationships, well, they were not so great. Yeah. My motivation, of course, it wasn't on its best. It was crumbling. My prayer life as well, not at its best. Not at its best. Yeah. I felt like I was living on autopilot. I am just mechanically checking boxes in life, but I have no real joy. So sometimes I had to play basketball just to feel something. And when I say I had to play basketball, means I had to play for many hours just to feel something, And then I go walking. I walk all the way back to the dorm. At that moment, I was still living in the dorm, and I'd be talking to God. But from the outside, you could only say that guy is crazy. He's talking to himself, yeah. And I probably people cross the road just to avoid me, especially in campus. So they're Chinese. So, anyways, I drowned my thoughts in the gym eventually, but not to lift weights, but to lift the mental fog that had settled over my life. And the good thing is, in the middle of all of that, my first breakthrough came. And it was not in a textbook or from a motivation quote. Is it quote or quote? Yeah, anyways, from a motivation quote. But in a moment of raw honesty with myself. So what's the honesty? I didn't know what I was living for anymore. And actually that scared me. That scared the hell out of me. But yeah, eventually that became the first page of the blueprint of you. The first page of the blueprint of you. So if you open the blueprint of you, the first page, ta-da! The first page. Let me show you. I am talking about sunrise, the monotony of the comfort zone. First chapters. The first chapter. You see, clarity doesn't arrive like a lightning bolt. It's more like a fog which slowly lifts after dawn. That's why in chapter 1 of this book, chapter 1, the sunrise. That's why in chapter 1 of the book, I talk about seeking clarity amidst the fog. Because for me, clarity didn't come with answers. It came with questions, questions. And it came with questions like, what do I actually value? It came with questions like, what would make my future self proud? If I am, that time was 2022, so by 2025, what would make myself proud? If I die tomorrow, another question was, if I die tomorrow, what would remain undone? What would remain undone? Like right now, if God decides it's my time to go, yeah, what haven't I done yet? These questions are the questions that moved me during that time. These were the questions that were eventually helping me to get out of the fog and gain clarity. Because sometimes clarity is preceded by conflict, intrapersonal conflict or interpersonal conflict. For you sometimes to get clarity on some aspects, you'd eventually have to cut off circumstances or something. And I remember someone I met during that season who challenged everything. My values, my beliefs, even imagine just my social media presence. It was very uncomfortable and it was frustrating because I'm a person who, I don't know, life is just simple. I don't complicate thoughts, having many thoughts at the same time. I see something, I take it as it is and not trying to make it complicated, thinking for the second person perspective, especially in negativity. So this situation of let's say of just having conflict with this person forced me to reflect deeply, and in that moment of discomfort, the fog began to clear. The fog began to clear from my mind, and that's the actual thing about the fog. It doesn't need to be avoided. It just needs to be walked through. You don't go across the fog, but you rather walk through it, because then you will get a clear vision. So let me ask you another question. As we continue down this storyline, this story of today, let me ask you another question. Can you see a version of yourself that doesn't yet exist, but feels more like you than the person you are today? Like, can you see a version of yourself that is not there yet, but you feel like that's the person, that's you, and you're not that person today? Can you take a moment to think about this question and maybe try to answer or not? But yeah, think of this aspect. It's a confusing question. It might be a confusing question. It's sometimes, because you are now thinking double things. But yeah, the vision, that's the vision. That if you are able to answer the confusion that comes, that's the vision. The ability to see the invisible and pursue it like it's inevitable. And that's why in the blueprint of you, in case you didn't see the blueprint of you, in the blueprint of you, I write about how I envision creating something that fuels or that is fused with my love for sports, wellness, and community. Because I have this thing that I love sports, right? And I love the sense of belonging to a certain group of people. I have a family. Apart from my home family, I have a family. I belong to a family. I belong to a fellowship, to a church. I belong to that sense. And I wanted something that can fuse these elements, wellness, being able to inspire others to live better lifestyles. And, well, that vision became OC Outdoor Products Company Limited, later registered as, But OC Outdoor Products, a brand that I launched with little money, lots of doubt, and an even greater amount of faith. Today, the OC brand is growing into something bigger just because of the action I took initially. We are now empowering active lifestyles among individuals and families through things like community activities. We are fueling people with people's outing styles by providing and at the same time providing utility through our products. Right? It really doesn't matter how big it is that we are fueling, but one person at a time, right? And we are even furthermore sharing more opportunities with other African founders and entrepreneurs through our recently launched Scout Path Opportunities Hub. So you can see that the vision fueled me to create something greater. So vision doesn't come because you are ready. It comes because you're willing to break free from predictability and step into possibility. So the sunrise reminds us of this. Every day is a new day. Every day is fresh. It's a fresh start. And every day is a blank canvas. Like every day you just begin, start something new. You lost something yesterday. Today is another day to try it afresh. I remember Steve Harvey said, if God gives you a moment to wake up, if He enables you to wake up another day, it means you haven't completed. It means you haven't completed what He has called you to do. Your journey is not complete yet, So that's it. Vision is important. But vision without purpose, that's like setting sail without a compass. This is just a disclaimer. A vision without a purpose is just like setting sail without a compass. So in chapter 3 of the book, I talk about discovering purpose, and not just as a purpose as a Pinterest quote, but a daily compass. Purpose is what helps you to persist with when the vision is blurry. It's what fuels you when everything else fails. I deeply understood purpose. Especially this understanding of purpose came when I read the book The Purpose-Driven Life, which it was a very transformational book by Pastor Rick Warren. So thanks, shout out to R. Thank you. Summarizing from his own words, purpose centers on understanding and living out God's plan for your life, rather than focusing solely on personal desires. Personal desires and ambition. We all have these big things, but being able to live God's plan for your life. It involves recognizing God's creation of you and your place in His broader plan. And then you align your actions with His purposes for your life. That's a purpose-driven life. So Pastor Rick Warren actually mentioned 5 purposes, and I just want to holler them at you in case. The first purpose was worship, because we are supposed to love God with all our heart, mind, and soul, and seeking to pleasure Him, right? And then fellowship, loving and connecting with other believers and experiencing the joy of being part of God's family. Discipleship, ministry, and evangelism. You can listen to this more on episode 1 of season 3 of this season, episode 1. I remember I talked about this book. We talked about this book very much with Rachel. So yeah, listen to that. So when I started aligning my actions to my purpose, everything just changed. It was just like a flip of the coin. I stopped working for approval and actually started working from a point of conviction. And that's when I began to see growth. And I mean, when I say growth, I really mean real growth. And I don't just say this for the purpose of storytelling, but the book is actually filled with practical frameworks to just help you to discover your purpose through reflection exercises, value alignment, and reevaluation of your past experiences. Now, there's a little bit of a clincher, right? None of all of this that we have already talked about doesn't work without a mindset. That's what I have come to understand. It doesn't work without a mindset. No, and not just any mindset. You need a growth mindset. Adopt a growth mindset, which this growth mindset is a mindset that embraces discomfort, learns from failure, and doesn't just wish for better. It works for it. So in the blueprint of you, I break down the difference between fixed and growth mindsets in simple real life terms. I even decided to draw a diagram of how the mindset works so that you can understand that concept. I use real terms like how I had to unlearn perfectionism, like how I had to stop waiting to feel ready and just start, even with the fear. Just start. Just do it, like Nike. So your mindset is either your master or your prisoner, and you're the one to choose which one fits, which one is you. Yeah. Now, this is what makes this book different. It's not about copying someone else's morning routine and all that. Yeah. It's not about chasing the hustle culture or becoming a productivity robot. It's just about designing a life that is rooted in who you truly are. A life where vision gives you direction, purpose gives you reason, mindset gives you power. Just the 3 things. And then you now learn how to mix them. The book includes a task section. I remember a task section where you literally blueprint your vision, discover your purpose, and even rewire your mindset. And furthermore, set actionable steps to actionable goals and steps to reach these goals. And I actually just wanted to feel like a workshop between 2 friends, not a lecture, because I'm an engineer, so why put too much notes and all that. And the final chapter on the book is called The Beautiful Sunset, and it's not just an ending, it's a call to legacy. Because once you have designed a life of vision, purpose, and mindset, you're not just living for today, you're building something that outlives you. When you're not here anymore, that legacy continues. Yeah. So I wrote this book not just for you to read, but to apply. So if this episode resonated with you, I invite you to go deeper. So and grab your copy of the Blueprint of You, which is available on our website, ebodailyBooks.my.canva.site. You can see on the screen and the description below. Amazon with the paperback and hardcover and Kindle available, and then on Seller, which is you can get the ebook for African readers, and then Habari Duka for Tanzanians, you can get an ebook as well. For people in China, you get the YouPay. Through YouPay, you get a paperback, and Goodreads, Ria Christie for UK, California Books USA, and many more. Or just send me an email directly at emmanuelsaitoti@qq.com and I'll personally guide you. This book is more than a read, it's just a companion, a mirror, a map. And my hope is that it helps you design the life that you are always meant to live. Until next time, stay rooted, stay rising, and never stop dreaming, brother or sister or friend or colleague or apprentice. Never stop dreaming. Ciao. See you. This is the Self-Seed Podcast.